Welcome to the kingdom. I'm Chris, and this is Good Enough Gaming. Howdy folks, and welcome to this video where I'm going to be continuing to add to my new Starcraft themed alien Hives army. So in this video I'm going to be painting a Roach Corpser, I believe it is, using that slapchop method. Now some of you commented that I'm not using quite as official of a slapchop method because I'm just using rattle cans and I'm doing a quick spray of white over black, and that is entirely possible. But part of the goal was to see what I could do with speed. You know, what would I sacrifice in quality in order to get speed and quantity? So in the future, maybe I will try and do one of them with dry brushing a gray and then a white. But for now, I'm going to stick with these, and partly because I had already filmed this before that comment was made. But I hear you, and I'll keep it in mind. So just like with the previous bugs, I start off with a nice coat of this dark brown here, and what was really nice about painting these is I finally got a decent base coat. I didn't paint when it was, or spray when it was too hot or too humid, so I didn't get the fuzz. So I'm actually going to get to see what this stuff will look like when it's on a much smoother kind of base coating. Now, I have to be a little careful here around the edges because I want to make sure I leave that membrane unpainted, because most of this model is going to be that brown. So anywhere there's a different color, I want to make sure I make full use of it. Otherwise, it's going to look like a turd nugget. Now, just like I did with the other ones, even though I can definitely see the speed painting is doing more of that sinking into the recesses and giving highlights, I didn't want the whole army to look identical with the exact same shade of brown. So instead of dry brushing over it with the lighter, more orange-red brown, I'm going to dry brush over it this time using this more of a tan, more of a khaki brown. That way it'll still fit in with the rest of the army, but every single model isn't going to look identical. Now there's something really kind of crazy with this color scheme I'm using, with the Gorthor brown and the Baneblade brown over top of this, the darker brown speed paint. That's basically the same color scheme I use to do leather on belts, on shields, on armor. And it's really interesting just to think that if you paint an object the same colors, it'll seem like a different color just because the object itself will lend itself to a different way of viewing it. So if I paint this scheme on a belt, you'll look at it and say, oh, it's leather. I painted on a bug, and you're not going to say, oh, that bug looks like it's made out of leather. I don't know if that means anything, but I found it interesting. Now, normally my favorite part of painting a model is when I get to the skin, because that's when the model, to me, for some reason, it stops looking like a piece of plastic and actually starts looking like a frozen creature. Like, it looks real, it looks living. But with these guys, since there isn't any flesh color, instead, I think it's the purple that I really like putting on here that makes it go from just being kind of this bland bug to something with a little bit more character. There isn't a whole lot of purple on this. Unlike the other models I painted, it's very spare, so I made sure that I put some around the feet here just to give it more than the tiny little membranes on the claws at the front. Now, as I got the remaining batches of the Order of Prince and painted them, I've been going back and forth between using the speed paint bone color and then using the opaque Ushabti bone here for the claws. I guess some models just lend themselves to one color more than the other. In this case, though, because the claws are so tiny and you really need anything that isn't brown to stick out, I use the opaque just to make sure that you could see it well. Well, we're just about done here. So other than the purple, the only other character this thing has are the spines on its back. Now, since this is a Corpser that I'm painting up, they're going to be a very, very bright green, which works out well because then it'll match with the Baneling and the Queen and some of the other models that have like those bright green bulbous areas. So I'm going to paint the crystals here green. It was easier doing it this way than trying to paint around and keep the original slapchop spray on there. Yeah, it won't have the fading, but there was no way I was going to paint around 15 or so spines on 10 different roaches. And as with before, we'll head back to our fluorescent green, 1, maybe 2 coats. We'll turn these white spikes into these almost radioactively glowing green spines on its back. And once that's done, we're pretty much finished and just need to base it. Okay, tell a lie. One more thing. If you want to add a little bit more color or character or dimension to the spines, get a bright white and paint just the very tips to give it a little more of a three-dimensional look. And there it is, all finished, added to the base. And there's that separate video I show where I'd show you how I made the base and made the creep. But I think that looks pretty darn good. It's got enough depth and light and character and accent that a unit of 10 of these is going to look really good on the table. So, hope you enjoyed that. I enjoyed painting it. It went incredibly fast. I'm still amazed at how quickly I can get through painting stuff using the slapchop method on models that don't have a ton of detail. So until next time, I think this definitely looks good enough.